everyone. We're going to learn about polyatomic ions. Poly, not as in the parrot, but poly as in poly, meaning more than one. So polyatomic ions are made up of more than one atom. And there are many of them. You will either be asked to memorize them, or you will be asked to put them on a card so they're ready available for you. Here's an extensive list of the most common polyatomic ions. Look at all of them and note negative charges, and the exception is ammonium NH4+. All these ions are made up of more than one atom covalently bonded together, meaning they're sharing electrons together. However, the unit itself is negatively charged or positively charged, and as in the case of ammonium. Notice that many of them end in ATE or ITE. This means that there are oxygens in the polyatomic ion. Find chlorate and chlorite, for instance. Take a look at chlorate and chlorite on the left-hand column, and chlorate is ClO3, and chlorite is ClO2. So you can think of chlorate as the standard one, and then chlorite is light because it has one less oxygen. But notice that the charge is the same. If you look at another example, here's nitrate. Nitrate has 3 oxygens. Nitrite is the light version, and it has only 2. Later on, I'm going to show you other examples. These are tricks that you can use to memorize them. These are 3 ions that are related. Notice that we're going to start out with a chlorate ion, and the chlorate ion is ClO3-. Chlorite, as we discussed before, ite is the light version, so it will have one less oxygen. This is ClO2-. Hypo means lower than, so hypochlorite means that it has one less oxygen than the chlorite. So it would be written ClO-. And per, it's like hyper, but we drop the hype, higher than, and that would be written ClO4-. In order to name the compounds that contain polyatomic ions, we still have to determine whether they are type 1s or type 2s in order to know whether we have to put a Roman numeral. So let's take a look at this compound. Sodium sulfate would be the name. How did I know that? Well, here's sodium, and I have circled sulfate here, the ion. Whether you are asked to memorize them or you are asked to write them on a card and have them with you, you would locate SO4 and then simply name the first element. Has the name of the first atom has the same name as the element, and then the ion is named by the common ion list. So this is sodium sulfate. All right, so now you try it. try writing the name of this compound. I'll give you a minute. Remember, please first determine if this is a type 1 or a type 2 compound. Notice this is iron, so therefore this is a transition element, therefore it is a type 2. So we have to write iron. I'm going to put the parentheses, because I know it's going to need a parentheses. And then I'm going to determine what the name of this polyatomic ion is. I've circled it over here. Nitrate. And I'm going to write the word nitrate. Oops. I'm still working on learning to write with my bamboo tablet. And now I have to determine what the number is. Remember, we are going to work backwards. Nitrate has a negative charge, so therefore that's how the 1 got here. And we're going to work backwards. This is 1 then, and this is 3. The charge is +3. So therefore, I'm going to write Roman numeral 3. Let's go to the next one. See if you can do this. This compound is made up of 2 polyatomic ions. 1 here and 1 here. Can you find this one on the common polyatomic ion list? If you said ammonium, you are correct. It is right here. Ammonium. And then we're going to locate the ion ClO3, and that is chlorate. So it is ammonium chlorate. I want you to take a look at these ionic compounds, and I want you to pause at this time, and I want you to write the formula of the compound and then write the name. And then I will come back and tell you what the result is. So I'm watching you. Let's do it now. All right, let's check your answers. The first one is lithium hydroxide. This is a type 1 compound. The second one is potassium dichromate. The third is calcium nitrite. Then zinc phosphate. FeS is the only compound on this list that is a type 2. Iron is a transition metal. Therefore, the answer is iron, Roman numeral 2, sulfide. I will go ahead and write this one down. Whoops, not what I wanted. Okay, I want the pen. All right, and so I'm going to write this one down so to be sure that you have written it correctly. Iron, Roman numeral 3, sulfide. Whoops. Sulfide. And finally, the last one is again made up of 2 polyatomic ions. The only positive one is ammonium, and NO3 is nitrate. Ammonium nitrate. All right, so now it's time to write the formula of the compound given the name. The first one listed is lithium sulfate. So this is what we will do. Lithium, we write Li, and then we look up sulfate. It's SO4 2 negative. We know the lithium is a positive 1, and sulfate SO4 is a negative 2, or 2 negative. We're going to crisscross the same way as we did before, and we will write Li2 SO4, and of course the charges go away. Final answer is Li2 SO4. I will do one more. Silver. Remember, silver is one of those exceptions that although it is a transition metal, it is always +1. It doesn't have multiple charges. So it is Ag, the charge is +1, or 1 plus. And acetate, look up acetate, it is C2H3O2 negative. A -1 and a +1 cancel out, therefore the formula is AgC2H3O2. Then we have copper 1 dichromate. Okay, I'm going to put it over here for lack of room. So copper, I know that copper is Cu. The Roman numeral indicates that it is +1. And dichromate is over here, Cr2O7, 2 negative. Cr2O7, 2 negative. All right, we're going to do the same as we've done before. Crisscross, crisscross, and the 2 comes down here. My final answer is then Cu2 Cr2O7. All right, I'm going to let you try the others. Pause the video, and then I'll come back and give you the answers. All right, so here we are. We're going to write the answers for the final 3, which you should have written down already. Calcium, Ca, that's 2 plus. Nitrate is NO3 minus. So we're going to crisscross. 1 comes down here. It is understood. 2 is going to come down here. But instead of writing the 2 here, and it's looking like it's 32, and it gets confusing, whenever you add a subscript to a polyatomic ion, you must add parentheses. So the final answer is Ca parentheses NO3 taken twice. And we read that NO3 taken twice. CaNO3 taken twice. That is the final answer for that one. Now, then we have iron 2. So we're going to write Fe 2 plus ClO3 minus crisscross 2. The final one is lead, which will be Pb charge is +4, sulfate SO4 2 negative. We're going to crisscross, and this would go 2 and this would go 4. Okay, and we're going to put a parentheses. Anytime we add a subscript to a polyatomic ion, we must add parentheses. But we're going to simplify because this is a 2 and a 4. So we're going to say Pb parentheses SO4 close parentheses 2. We have successfully written the formulas for several polyatomic ions. End of story. Now you know how to write formulas and names of compounds, ionic compounds containing polyatomic ions. Signing off. Chemistry is awesome.